Hi, John Morgan here, and today I am sitting here in one of the control rooms for the big greenhouse that's right in behind the big red building here at Mesa. And what I wanted to talk about is something that is behind the scenes and a little bit out in the weeds, but is very relevant considering the upcoming weather. And that is how we maintain the temperature in the greenhouse. Of course, today it's kind of sunny out, so we are capturing solar energy. So a greenhouse uses the greenhouse effect. We're trapping energy from the sun on sunny days to warm up the air in the greenhouse. So let's take a look at the computer screen behind me. So like I said, this greenhouse, it's a little bit older, but it's still computer controlled. And we've done that by kind of grafting on automation onto the old analog controls. And I'll show you that a little bit later out in the greenhouse. But this is the main control screen. And it's giving us information like the outdoor air temperature, the relative humidity, the dew point. It even measures rain, how much light is hitting the greenhouse, and also the wind direction and speed. And what it does is every few seconds it pulls all of the sensors outside and in the greenhouse and then adjusts the environment from there. So right now we can see right here in zone 1 north the heat stage 1 is on, and then these other greenhouse, well, heat's on right there, but in these other two zones right now, they're normal, so there's no heat running there. But I can pull up the screen right here, and we can actually see the raw communication coming in from the sensors. And here in a few seconds, it'll start pulling in data and then sending commands. So that is just the raw stream of data coming in. So let's head out in the greenhouse and see where this information is coming from and what it's controlling. So outside here, up on top of the greenhouse, we have a little weather station. And it's measuring things like wind speed and direction, temperature, light, and also whether it's raining or not. And then here in the greenhouse, we have air temperature and humidity sensors, like this one, that are measuring the conditions inside. And coincidentally, right here behind us are the hanging baskets that we saw being transplanted last week. And all of that information feeds back into these little boxes on control panels out here in the greenhouse. So this is the weather station receiver box, and actually all of the information from the other sensors get routed through this box and then through a cable into the control room. And if I pull back a little bit, you can see all of the controls here. These are the old analog controls that the newer QCOM controls are controlling. Of course, when I say newer, that's kind of subjective. The controls in this greenhouse are about 15 years old, but relative to the age of this greenhouse, that's fairly new. This greenhouse was built about 30 years ago for this front section, but that doesn't mean that we're not updating things. This greenhouse relies on forced air natural gas heaters, and behind me here we have a bunch of old heaters that we're actually in the process of replacing. And the new heaters that we're installing are much more energy efficient. They actually reclaim some of the exhaust heat to increase their efficiency. And in this section of the greenhouse, each bay has 2 heaters. So there's a stage 1 and then a stage 2. So if it gets too cold for stage 1, the second stage will also kick one to provide extra heat. In this greenhouse also, the heaters alternate the ends of the bays that they're in. So there's a set of heaters here, no heaters there, heaters on down there, and then they're arranged in the opposite way down the other end. That way we get a circulation of airflow in the greenhouse. And also to help that airflow along, we have horizontal airflow fans, HAF fans, running down the middle of the bays. A little side note, we also have this year's ferns hanging up on their drip tubes. So they're going to hang out here until they ship out this spring. And the last time we saw these, they were just little tiny starts out in the greenhouse back in the fall. Even though it's chilly out today, it's still sunny, so it is going to warm up in here. And by this afternoon, the heat's going to shut off, and actually the roof vents will start opening to control the temperature in here.
Coincidentally, the power just went off, so our backup generator is kicked on.
And that's a quick behind-the-scenes look at greenhouse environmental controls. So I hope that gives you a little bit more information about how we actually heat and maintain the temperature in the greenhouses this time of year.